Rebecca Peters, and I'm a fourth-year student studying Society and Environment and International Development Economics with a minor in Global Poverty. My interest in water and diplomacy could be well summarized by Jerome Deli Perscoli, who said that water is humanity's greatest common learning ground. I think that water is not just an environmental or social or cultural resource, but it's very spiritually profound to many cultures all across the world, and it's really important to come up with policy that's sensitive to the competing, different, and overlapping needs and uses for water. Growing up in a time of wartime, you really learn to understand the value of peace, and I think that fostering diplomacy when it comes to natural resources is going to be my generation's biggest task. I'd say the three things I've done to make water more visible on the Berkeley campus are establishing the Berkeley Water Group, starting a DeCal, and working to start a water minor. The Berkeley Water Group was started when I first got here last fall as a kind of revitalization of an older pre-existing group that was run by PhD students but had sort of fallen apart due to lack of organization and loss of funding. So when I got here, I was really looking for a strong research community that was also doing interesting projects and field work. So by restarting the group and including undergraduates, I've expanded membership, so it's not just 10 PhD students, but now it's an entire group of 50 students who are undergraduates, master's students, and PhD students, and people are doing everything from fieldwork in Cambodia to researching water quality right here in the Bay Area. The DeCal I started 3 semesters ago, and it's called Water and International Human Rights, and the class is meant to bring students from all different disciplines into one classroom in order to study the very complex and difficult to understand concept of water and how it relates to human rights. And the minor is, or will be, the Water Science, Sustainability, and Policy minor, and we hope to get it started next fall. And it will include coursework from all different departments on campus and create a cohesive framework for students, undergraduate students, to study water. As a student in the Global Poverty and Practice minor here at UC Berkeley, I was tasked with finding a practice experience that would take about 6 weeks and would involve fieldwork in the global poverty alleviation field. I chose to work in Bolivia because I'd started studying the water conflict that happened there in 2000 and got really interested in doing fieldwork there to understand what water provision is like now, while also combining that with my thesis research. My thesis research on current forms of peri-urban water provision was inspired by the fact that even 12 years after the water conflict in Bolivia, people still don't have access to safe, clean water. So I was really motivated to understand why that is and what NGOs, the government, and water cooperatives are doing to improve the situation. I was able to meet activists from every corner of the globe. I was also in a room with diplomats and World Bank executives. I think the most influential thing coming out of the World Water Forum for me was understanding the nexus between human rights, policy, lawmaking, and how it's important to start moving past the top-down, global north to global south flow of policies and really start having communities and people themselves come up with their own solutions. Between studying abroad in Australia after my sophomore year of high school and studying abroad in Copenhagen after my freshman year of college and waltzing around Europe and South America, I'd say the most important thing I've learned is that humanity is incredibly resilient and people are able to overcome the greatest of challenges. So saying that it's difficult to be a transfer student at Cal doesn't really convey how hard it is to uproot your life after being somewhere for 2 years and change your academic and social trajectory entirely. It was really hard to come here after being somewhere for 2 years and not know anybody and have to start all over. But I think realizing that 1/3 of Cal students are transfer students is really inspiring and really helps with the transition. So the advice I'd give to new transfer students would be, even though it might sound cliche, but really take advantage of everything that's offered here. Do Cal in the capital, study abroad, make sure you experience that cognitive dissonance and dislocation that comes with doing something really difficult. A fun fact about myself is that I'm a 4th generation Cal Bear. My great-grandmother went here, my grandmother, my mom, and her sister and her brother, and now me. So go Bears!